Hey friends, funstock.co.uk is the UK and Europe's #1 retro game store. Funstock.co.uk has a special offer just for you. Use the discount code PLANET to receive 5% off any online order on funstock.co.uk. That's right, 5% off a Sega Ultimate Portable, a Super Retro Trio, or even a Neo Geo X. Use the discount code PLANET, that's PLANET, to get 5% off any order on funstock.co.uk.
Come bust a move where the games are played. It's chill, it's fresh, it's play on!
Hey, listen!
I'm Commander Shepard.
Let's do this. I think we're just getting started.
I think there's some school children down the way. You can go and find them.
Hello, and again.
Get over here!
Welcome, everybody, to episode 58 of the Play On Podcast on PlanetArbitrary.com. I am your host, Pat B, with Pat's Retro Video Game Reviews on PlanetArbitrary.com. And joining me, as always, tonight is...
Anthony.
And...
Play on, bitches.
A good one. Play on, bitches. Good one, Ann.
Yeah, that was good. Good stuff. We're back after 2 weeks. The holiday season is upon us. We're getting ready. I think this is our last episode of the year. Is that correct? This is the last one.
Our next episode will be in the new year.
Yeah, so we'll be back in January, and that first episode is going to be best of 2014.
Yeah. We don't cut it short. We're not like some places where it's like we're gonna give you our best of when the year's still here. We wait till the new year to give you the shit.
Yeah, so I mean the Arbies are being polished as we speak.
That's right.
So we'll be handing those out in January. Also, let's see. Last time we recorded, we had a Wasteland 2 copy of Wasteland 2 available for giveaway. All you had to do was email me the words "play on" to pat@planetarbitrary.com, and we have a winner.
Nice.
I want to say congratulations to Robert Peterson. He is the winner of the Wasteland 2 giveaway. If you don't remember, Steve of Game Class, he so generously donated a copy of Wasteland 2 to Play On to give away on the podcast. So we did that, and Robert won. And then he said... in the email, when I told him that he had won, he said that he had never won before. He's never won a contest like that before.
I've never won a contest before.
No, I've never won anything in my life.
I think I won one time, but that's still awesome.
Yeah, so congratulations, Robert. Thanks for participating.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, and thanks to Steve for donating the game. That was great. Let's see. Moving on, we've got a lot of stuff we want to talk about in this episode. Anthony is saving PC gamers one person at a time. Anthony has done things just... unbelievable things in the last 2 weeks. Things have drastically changed in the world of Anthony. So we're going to talk about that. We also have a very, very special guest joining us on the podcast this time. For those of you, if you've been watching the Twitch streams that have been popping up on Game Classy, Steve and I, for the last, few weeks or so, we've been streaming, some of the games on PlayStation 4, but mainly Divekick. We've been playing this fighting game, Divekick, where all you do is dive and kick. There's only 2 buttons. There's no directional movement. There's no nothing. All you do is push these 2 buttons. And we've been playing it quite a bit. Steve, it's been a little bit more frustrating because Steve's been losing quite a bit. For some reason, I seem to be a natural talent at the game. It just kind of comes to me. So
you're like the wizard.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been flattening Steve in it. So, and then those of you that have been watching the Twitch stream, you can see the embarrassment there. So, but on this episode, joining us is going to be the creator of Divekick, Adam Hart.
What?
Yeah, he's going to be joining us in just a few minutes. We're going to be talking to him about everything about Divekick, where the game came from, some tips, everything at all the things about fighting games, the characters in the game. It's good stuff. So definitely stick around because we're going to be talking to him shortly. And then also towards the end of the episode, we're going to be doing the retro recap real quick. If you're collecting Amiibos, if you're not collecting Nintendo Amiibos, you should probably be collecting them because they could score you some sweet money because they're selling for big bucks on eBay and Craigslist. And if you have a sharp eye, you can catch some of the manufacturing defects on these Amiibos that are making these things so valuable. So I've been buying them. I can't control myself. I don't know. I just saw them.
Addicted.
And and it was long before this stuff with manufacturing defects even started. I was just like, I saw the figures. I was like, I'm buying those. I don't care. I'm a 33-year-old man. I have to have a little tiny figurine of Star Fox.
That's right.
So,
gotta have it.
So yeah, we'll start things off tonight. Anthony, 2 weeks ago, we recorded an episode where we talked about the wonders and the greatness of the Nvidia Shield and the Nvidia Portable, the Shield Portable, and we talked about the struggles, the first world struggles of Shield gaming.
Yeah.
You know, how it fits a very specific need, a very specific situation for gaming, mainly if you want to game in bed, on the go, if you have a PC and you want to play games on the go. Yeah. What a great solution they are. Yeah. So we recorded that episode just absolutely gushing, just
splooging
all over the place about the Shield.
Yeah.
What happened?
I tell you,
after that episode,
I still stand by everything I said, not only about the portable and but also about the tablet. But there was too many struggles for me with the tablet version. It's one of those things where if Nvidia makes a portable 2, like if they make a redesigned or a bigger screen or whatever, I'm gonna get it hands down, no question. I love the all-in-one-ness about it. The only struggle with the tablet is, again, everything is disconnected. So in order to position the tablet, like if you're in bed, it's just a little bit more of a struggle, right? It's just a first world problem. But the whole reason I got the Shield was to stream PC games anywhere in the house. And I had commented on the problems I was having with the Wi-Fi signal. And I had even was resorting to using power line adapters for Ethernet connections and stuff, which sort of solved the problem. But then here I am with like a tablet attached to a stand, clamped to my bed, with the Ethernet cable running into it, and then my controller with my headphones plugged into it. It just felt weird, and it just wasn't like a comfortable experience. And so I decided, because I can also use Steam in-home streaming on my laptop, and it works literally the same, like almost the exact same, except I get the benefit of having a little bit bigger of a screen. So I said I'm gonna return the tablet, because I also have an iPad, so I also felt like an asshole for having 2 tablets. So I returned the tablet, and I took the money selling an old graphics card I had for the computer my gaming PC, and I bought a GTX 980, top of the line, new, Nvidia card. And so what that's going to be nice is it's going to allow me to run current games, the games coming out soon, high settings, and be able to stream easily without problems. So I've been enjoying it. I just got it. But in the process, I noticed that, and it was a problem I had with the other card, because the monitor that I bought for the computer is hooked up through HDMI. And so I noticed when I plugged it in, everything looked kind of washed out, and like the black levels looked kind of like more gray, and the colors didn't seem to like pop. And I thought, like, man, this monitor either is garbage, which I can't believe it got such great reviews, which is why I bought it, or there's something wrong, like the cable's wrong, or there's something with the driver. And so I was just doing a lot of research, and I found a post from like 2 years ago on the Nvidia GeForce forums, and it was just this brilliant user, Bat Joe, and he said, this is just a known issue with Nvidia cards, the GTX cards at least. This is at least 2 years old of a problem. That if you're outputting through HDMI, something with the RGB full range, even if a monitor is built to receive that, which most monitors are, the transition doesn't occur, and so your monitor is reading it as a limited RGB signal, which all the fanciness means is that you're not getting a really nice looking picture that you should be getting. So and all it took was downloading a patch. It's literally a 3-second process. You download the patch that the user made, which all the patch does is change the registry files to allow it to accept the full RGB range. You restart your computer, and it's like a whole new world. And so I was like, God, this post is so old. I'm always on the PC gaming subreddits and all the different Reddits for PC gaming. That I'm like, and nobody's ever commented on this. And so I just put up a post on PC Gaming, and I just said, hey, if you're an Nvidia user with HDMI output, try this patch, blah, blah, blah. And it just blew up. I mean, it was almost 1,000 comments, and it was just like a rare thing where it was nothing but positive people. It was like, oh my God, this changed my life. Like I thought my monitor was shit. Like all these things where people must have been playing their, on their with their graphics card on their monitors, thinking like, I guess that's just how the monitor looks, right?
Absolutely.
And people were just like losing their shit. And so I was thrilled. somebody gifted me Reddit Gold, which I didn't even know what the hell that was. And I learned about that. So, like, it was just, like, all this overwhelming positive feedback, which just made me feel good because I'm like, good.
Yeah.
I'm doing a service and I'm helping fellow PC gamers, right?
Well, I cruised through the comments because I was waiting for that person to be like, yeah, this is totally old, and this is such bullshit, blah, 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 blah. But I went through it, and every single person was just like, had a whole new perspective on PC gaming and GeForce cards. It was incredible, the response.
I just couldn't imagine people playing games, like, for the past 2 years thinking, like, wow, everything just looked kind of washed out on here, you know, or seeing like a console version and maybe thinking the console version looked better. So regardless, the patch fixed it. So I put out the article. It got shared in a few other subreddits, which was really awesome. And the people who even shared it were like nice enough to reference back to my post. So it wasn't people just like stealing the post, right? And so that was really cool. 2 days later, an article goes up on PCGamer.com with the exact information. Hey, this is a well-known problem, and here's the patch for it, and here's the Reddit user that showed you how you can, determine if you need to use the patch. And so it was just like, oh my God. And then today, so like this all happened within 4 days, and then today, Nvidia puts out a patch to finally address the issue. So this is a problem that's been going on for years. Mm-hmm. And I know I had read in a forum saying that they were planning to patch the problem in an upcoming driver update. But it was just like, I was either amazing coincidence or the post on Reddit that spawned the PC Gamer article that brought greater attention probably to Nvidia. It just made it happen. So I don't think it was necessarily me. I think it was just serendipity that it all happened. But it was just a really cool experience that, to help Nvidia users, going forward, they don't have to run into that problem. So
I'm not saying like you're God, but like I get it.
It's pretty cool, right?
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
Oh, man. And to think how many months ago I didn't even know how to build a PC. I didn't know anything about PC gaming. Yeah. And I'm giving out PC gaming advice.
Oh, you're balls deep in it.
I'm balls deep in PC gaming.
And what's incredible, it was funny when we were texting this morning to talk about the podcast and things like that, and then you had mentioned this, that you had done some research on this issue with your card, and that then all of a sudden PC Gamer picked up on it, and then you were very vague with the details. You just kind of said, and then Nvidia stepped in. I was like, oh shit! Are we in trouble because like we used some artwork or something like that? So I was like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden you sent me the links and you explained to me, and it was just like every text I was literally just hanging on every text. I was just like, eventually I texted you. I was just like, links. Just send me the links. Like I need links. It was incredible to read. It was just so much fun reading through the first Reddit post was so much fun to read. Just because every person was like, holy fuck, I had no idea this was going on.
For such a widespread, like literally every person who has that card is going to have that problem. Considering like that widespread of a problem, it is very, very hush as to like people saying here's a fix for it. So
right.
It's just the right time, right place, right time.
Well, and is it for previous models or just that card?
Previous models. Because it's been happening since at least 2012.
I'm going to patch my shit up.
Yeah, just download the patch and boom.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, Anthony.
Thank you. Go team.
Now, the other thing that you said towards the beginning, and we've kind of let this go, is that you sold back your Nvidia tablet.
I did.
And how was that?
Thankfully I had purchased it through Tiger Direct. I was actually outside of the return policy, and the store manager was like super nice about it. He's like, I'm supposed to charge you a 15% restocking fee, but I have a tablet myself, so I totally understand your frustration, so I'm only going to have you do a 5% restocking fee, which is like totally fair because it was totally opened and used, and so like he was super nice about it, and so he gave me all the money back for the controller and all that, without the 5% restocking fee. So again, it's one of those things where I'm using the laptop. I will absolutely buy a portable too if it comes out, but the tablet it was just more hassle for me than it was worth.
Really?
But I mean, the technology's awesome.
Oh yeah.
And I still stand behind it, and I still stand behind Nvidia, for it. So. Well,
and after you had told me that you did all this and you exchanged it and then you upgraded your gaming PC with that money that you got for it. And then you explained to me your setup using the Steam in-home streaming. It got me thinking. I was like, God damn it. I was like, because you can't. The Steam in-home streaming is so powerful and is so solid. Yeah. It almost negates those types of devices. It's almost like I love the portable.
Right.
I fucking love it.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is when you said, well, it just goes straight to the laptop, all of a sudden, I started thinking, I was like, man, you could streamline the whole thing, get a sweet laptop. Then you have the laptop that you can use.
Yeah, you could do all the keyboard and mouse games too.
Yeah, you can do all that stuff. And then you have a bigger display at the same time, which was your initial gripe from the very beginning.
Yes.
So it really made me start to question the setup, what the purpose is of the Shield. I mean, is it just a cool device that does cool stuff, or is it something where you need that? Because I know in previous podcasts I've said, this is a tool, you need it. You need to buy one. And now that I look at it, I'm like, well, it's very cool. The technology is very, very cool. Yeah. And like you said, if they make a portable 2 with a much bigger display, even more power to it. I mean, it's a must buy, hands down. But because Steam does have that little thing in there with the in-home streaming like that, making it available to pretty much every device, and even using Limelight, which I've been tooling around just a little bit, tooling around with, makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you haven't purchased a Shield and you need a streaming solution in your house, you may already have it in your lap.
Absolutely.
So
the nice thing with the Steam in-home streaming is Steam is working on, or Valve's working on that controller, that weird, remember it was the 2 touchpad, and it's going through all these design iterations. And I didn't quite understand why, because I'm like, there's so many other controller options that work fine. Like, why are they creating this wireless controller? And I realized using the Steam, the tablet, that having a controller that has all this built-in functionality to it that interacts with the operating system, so whether it's Nvidia working with their Shield or Steam working with the in-home streaming in the big picture mode, it makes things so much easier. To be able to like just tap a button and launch Steam, or to be able to use a mouse and keyboard with a controller type setup like that. So that I'm really excited about. So I hope that comes out soon, so I can give that a shot.
I really liked. I was bummed out that you returned that Nvidia controller that went with it, the wireless controller, because that's a sweet controller.
And I think you could use it with a PC if you plug it in, but I have the Xbox One controller, so it's like I don't really even have a purpose to keep it.
Right.
And I use for the computer, because I'm using my MacBook to in-home stream for Steam. I use a PS4 controller, which is beautiful. I love the PS4 controller. So I get to use that, through Bluetooth, still have the wireless experience with a bigger screen. It's just working out really well. The only downside with the Steam in-home streaming is, for some reason, and it could just be because I'm playing on a MacBook, but some games don't recognize that you have a connected controller, even though you do. Whereas the Shield always recognized that there was a controller, especially the portable.
So what do you do then?
You either can't play it, or I might have to invest in a wired Xbox 360 controller.
Oh,
like
God
the game, for example, is Far Cry 4, because pretty much every other game's working fine, but Far Cry 4, when you launch it in Steam in-home streaming, it doesn't recognize any controllers connected, so it wants you to use the keyboard and mouse commands. But if I did it through the Shield, it recognized it immediately. So it's just there's just those weird little things that I'm sure can be patched and fixed. But in terms of polish, the Nvidia option was the best.
Right.
But Steam is absolutely great, and it's free.
Geez, well, I know with your influence in the patching world and driver world, you should be able to get that done pretty quick. Reddit post, get on that.
That's right.
Let's see. Moving on, because we're gonna be speaking with Adam here in just a little while on Divekick. We're gonna move the retro recap to the front, because I wanted to talk about these Nintendo Amiibos, these figurines that Nintendo has released for the Wii U, companions to Smash Brothers. These are the little figurines that you can place on your Wii U controller and actually upload data to them and level them up and have them join your gaming experience. They can fight along with you. You can fight against them, and you can make them stronger. But these figures, forget all the gameplay stuff, because there's a whole collecting side that is actually, I think, might be driving them more than their actual use. A few podcasts ago, I had mentioned that I was picking some up because when I saw them, when I first saw the launch back at E3 when they were teased, and they had Reggie Fils-Aimé holding it up and like Amiibo, and showing off these little figures.
Skylanders ripoff.
Yeah, exactly. First off, I was like, well, that's not going to last. I was like, the history of Nintendo peripherals, is not good.
Yeah.
And
It's better than anybody, but it's not great.
Exactly. I mean, stuff hits big, and people use the shit out of it for a short amount of time, and then it goes away, and Nintendo stops supporting it, and it just becomes this thing like, hey, remember when they did this? And it becomes like an oddity.
Yep.
I mean, there's a zillion, the Power Glove. How iconic is the Power Glove, and how quickly did Nintendo drop the Power Glove and never do anything like that again until the Wii?
Yeah, what the hell?
So when I saw the Amiibo, I was like, well, I think they're not going to last. So when they come out, I'm going to break my game collecting rules, which are I don't really collect things that I'm going after value. I like to add things to my collection that I personally played in the back when I was a kid that I really, really want now, or that I really have a strong passion about. These Amiibos I looked at and I was like, I'm going to get those strictly to collect them. I'm not going to play them. Even if I get a Wii U, I'm never going to open them.
Did you take them out of the package?
No, absolutely.
Nice.
No, I kept them packaged.
Cool.
So every time I went to the store, I'd pick up a couple more. I'd pick up a few more.
How much are they?
They're $12.
It's not horrible.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, when I first saw them, too, this all hinged on my initial reaction to seeing the Amiibo in person for the first time. So when I saw them, and I saw that packaging, and I saw how nice the figures were, and I saw how nice the packaging was, I was like, those are really fucking cool. Those would make a great collectible. And not only that, they're Nintendo characters.
Yep.
I mean, it's Mario and Yoshi and Kirby and Donkey Kong. I mean, Fox McCloud is in there. I mean, all of your Nintendo favorites are there. So I was like, great, well, I'm going to totally buy these. So I started buying them. Every time I went to the store, I'd pick up maybe one or two more here and there. Eventually, now I have 9.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But see, now here's the thing. When I first started buying them, I went after my favorites. I immediately bought Mario and Donkey Kong and the more popular characters. I just started, Samus from Metroid is one of the characters, and Samus looks great. So I started buying all of the favorites. I was like, well, I totally want those and want to knock those out first. Now, there's some other characters that were kind of fringe characters. Like one of the characters is the trainer from Wii Fit. One is a villager from Animal Crossing.
Oh wow, you are obsessed.
Yeah, one is Marth, and I'm not sure what game that's from. Marth is Final Fantasy. I don't know what. I
typo.
Yeah, no, Marth is totally a character, and he's from some game that I don't play.
Huh.
But anyway, so I was like, well, I'm gonna ignore those guys, and I'm gonna go after my favorites. Big mistake. Wow. Because just not long ago, I think it was a week ago, there was some controversy that came out and Nintendo said some characters that they've been making figures of will not see a second production run. The ones that they produced the first wave of for retail, that's all they're going to make. And they kind of alluded to the Villager, Marth, and the Wii Fit Trainer. Now, these were 3 Amiibos that I saw.
Son of a bitch.
That I saw everywhere. For $12, I saw them fucking everywhere, and I had them in my hands, and I ignored it. I was just like, oh, fuck this. The Villager, I don't want that. I want Donkey Kong. I want Link. So I bought those instead. Wow. Well, immediately overnight, I was like, I saw that report that those 3 characters may be discontinued after. They're not going to see a second production run. They're going to be discontinued. I was like, well, tomorrow I'll run out and I'll pick some up. I mean, they're fucking everywhere. I went out. I had to go to 4 different stores to find just one of them. Wow. At the 4th store, when I found the Wii Fit Trainer at the 4th store, I walked up and the guy's like, man, these things have been selling like crazy today. What's going on? And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, a bunch of people ran in here like right when we opened and just bought a ton of them. And he's like, we don't even have any more in the stock. And we just started putting them out. He's like, what's going on? I was like, there was a report that some of these might be discontinued. So maybe these people are collecting them or trying to hold on to them. Wow. And so I got home and started looking up Craigslist and eBay. And right away, I go to Craigslist and bam, there's those 3 characters, Marth, the Wii Fit Trainer, and the Villager. And they're listed for prices $120, $60 a piece, $120, $200, complete set of 3. Set of 3. Complete set of. They're the set of 3. So I was like, holy shit. Then all of a sudden I start reading the things about some of the Amiibos that have come out with manufacturing defects on them. Mm-hmm. There's 2 right now that are really well known. There's Samus from Metroid. Has an arm cannon and then a regular fist on her other hand. Mm-hmm. The defect is there's some that are floating around with 2 arm cannons. One of those sold for, I believe, $15,000 on eBay. Fuck. Yeah.
15,000.
Yeah. Not to be outdone, though, Peach, some of the Princess Peach figurines have been floating around. Her legs, she's missing her legs.
Oh, that's awkward.
She was manufactured without legs. So it's just like a princess floating in a dress. One of those sold for $25,000 on eBay. $25,000 on eBay.
Unreal.
Yeah, it's insane. So now, I've been trying to find the set of 3, the Super 3. But now also I'm finding, because no one's buying Peach. No one's buying Samus. I'm seeing them everywhere. I'm flipping through, looking at Peach's dress, trying to see if she's got legs or not.
Peeking under the, like, what is this guy doing?
Yeah, trying to find these mistake Amiibos. It's crazy.
Wow.
So if you're a collector now and looking at the collecting forums, people are buying them and latching onto them. The collectors are latching onto them. Nintendo's announced that next year, February of next year, there's going to be a whole nother wave of characters that are going to be hitting. So these things are going to go fast. And now it's something where people were like, no, fuck Amiibos. Now they're just gone. Like the shelves.
Cow.
And I mean, you gotta add in the holiday rush a little bit. I mean, all the shelves are bare everywhere.
Yeah.
But the Amiibos are just really hard hit. No one wants Mario. Mario's just everywhere.
Of course, he's like the booster.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I've been dealing with collecting wise.
Well, congratulations on the new obsession.
Yeah, I know, this is crazy.
So do you, except for the rare ones now, do you own all of them?
No, there's still. I mean, there's Diddy Kong just came out recently that I don't have. I didn't buy Pikachu, which is probably going to come back and bite me. I didn't buy Kirby.
Did you get? Is there a Link?
Yeah, there's Link and Princess Zelda. I bought both of those.
Nice.
So Zelda I just saw recently, so I picked her up to add to the collection, and then the Wii Fit Trainer, and then I've got all the other ones. So
nice.
But yeah, I'm up to 9. I'm trying to stop at 9. I don't know if it's gonna happen. If I see Diddy, I'll have to pick him up. But
you can't have odd numbers, Pat.
I
You
know.
have an even number.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing that, and I've been buying Star Wars Hot Wheel cars. I don't know what the fuck is going on with me.
Trapped in a man's body.
I know it, and all I can say is like they're collector's editions. I never used to like be a completist guy. And stuff, but like now, especially with the Hot Wheel cars, I was like, oh, I can totally collect that entire set. Now it's like a whole thing where I've bought all of them except for one that's like a part of an exclusive pack, and it's like $40 now.
Oh fuck, that's how they get you.
It is.
That's how it is with the Legos. We buy these Lego sets, and it's like to have all the characters from a particular set, you have to buy, each of the fucking sets. That's how they do it to get you, bastards.
Fucking Legos.
Fucking Legos.
So yeah. So that's been going on. In the news, something we forgot to talk about.
Oh yeah.
We got some time before we talk to Adam here.
Yeah.
Hatred. We talked about Hatred a couple episodes ago. Hatred. This is the game that is based on a character that just slaughters innocent people, and was obviously taking a lot of flack for the trailer that came out.
Yeah.
Showing just innocent people just being completely gutted, their throats slit, and
going into a police office and just blowing it or shooting it up. And
exactly. The game faced a lot of flack right off the bat, and it's gone through quite a bit more recently. Anthony, why don't you know about this?
So I hadn't heard about it since we really talked about that, and then all of a sudden it showed up that it was on Steam Greenlight. And so how Steam Greenlight works is they put up games, the community votes, and if it gets enough votes, they will put it out that you can actually buy the game. So Hatred popped up, and it was only on for like an hour, and it was pulled down. But within that hour, it had been voted to like number 7 of the rankings list for so like people were obviously voting to have this game published or put out on Steam. And so, but it was taken down. And then so that was the post. It was like, oh, Steam took down Hatred, and so more of the controversy spread. And then I wake up this morning and I see all these, glorious PC Master Race posts of Gabe ascended from heaven, and he spoke his words or whatever. But Gabe actually sent an email saying yesterday had heard that we were taking Hatred down from Greenlight. Since I wasn't up to speed, I asked around internally to find out why we had done that. Turns out that it wasn't a good decision, and we will be putting Hatred back up. My apologies to you and your team. Steam is about creating tools for content creators and customers. Good luck with your game, Gabe. They put it back up, and so it's on Greenlight again for people to go in and vote on it.
That's fair.
It's just crazy what was really interesting is all the comments. The comments to these articles were, I personally don't think, the game looks interesting, or I think it's offensive, but I also don't need people being my parent and telling me you can't play this game. Like, we don't want Steam saying, I'm not even going to put this out here. Like, just give people the option. And then there were people that were like, Total Biscuit put up a thing saying like, this is a video game about shooting pretend people. Like, get over it, Like, you can watch Human Centipede 2 on Netflix. It's like, this is no different. Like, if you don't like it, don't buy it. So, we'll see how it goes. If it's cheap, I probably will end up buying it, so.
Yeah, I mean, as horrendous as the game looks, or violent, I still want to play it. Because like my wife said, I showed my wife the trailer of the game, and she's like, well, that looks cool.
Yeah, looks
it's
like
violent.
every other fucking video game, and it just has a weird art style, so.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, we'll see what happens with that game. Do you think it'll get like a big commercial
I think it's too controversial for it to be too big of a commercial release, Like I was trying to think, is this going to be the next Mortal Kombat? Like when Mortal Kombat was like, the government was like, oh, Mortal Kombat. And it might be, but, that game also did really well. And again, any publicity is good publicity. So whether this was their plan all along or it just kind of happened, I think a lot of people are going to end up buying that game.
So I think I'm going to be one of them.
Me too.
All right, let's see. Well, we've got a special guest, creator of the fighting game Divekick. Divekick is available on pretty much every platform: PlayStation, PS3, Vita, PS4, Xbox One, PC. You can get it anywhere. If you don't know about Divekick, Divekick is a 2D fighting game that is based on just 2 controls, diving and kicking. There's 2 buttons. There's no directional pad. There's no thumbsticks. There's no nothing. There's just 2 buttons. And if you're hearing that and you're saying to yourself, well, how can you have a fighting game with just 2 buttons? You fucking can. It's totally possible, and makes you really think that a lot of fighting games could get away with doing just that. The game is great. Steve and I from Game Classy have been playing the game on Twitch. If you've been tuning in, you've seen us fighting in that game, and it seems like we're moving around all over the screen. That's all happening with just 2 buttons. So we are fortunate enough here at the Play On podcast. We have joining us tonight the creator of Divekick, Adam Hart, is with us. So coming in right now on the funstock.co.uk Celebrity Hotline.
I think you made that up.
Sounds fake, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sounds fake.
Is the creator of Divekick, Adam Hart.
Oh my God.
That sounds fake as well.
How you doing, Adam?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing
Thanks for
well.
having me.
So good.
Oh, thank you for joining us. How you been?
I'm great. I'm here to talk about a fake video game.
Yeah, it's real, but though when you play the game, when I first started playing it, I was not aware of any of the background of the game. I was just like, oh, Divekick, let's give this game a try. And then
novelty, I'll purchase this.
And then all of a sudden, the inside jokes and the comments that the players were making, and the players themselves, the characters in the game themselves, was like, whoa, wait a second, there's something not quite right here. It's very different from any other fighting game that's out there. I'm very curious, how did Divekick come about?
Well, I don't know if you're familiar with my background, but I'm a very, very long time competitive fighting game player myself. I started running competitive fighting game tournaments out of my mom's house in like 1997. So long time ago, and continued playing competitively, throughout the years, going to, big tournaments all around the country, including Evo and all that stuff. Nice.
And what game did you start on?
I started where everybody started, Street Fighter 2.
Nice.
I played World Warriors at the skating rink near my school and bodied all the kids in that. And, ended up getting that for my Sega Genesis with a couple of 6-button controllers. And
I was gonna say, you must be good on the Sega Genesis if you were using that 3-button controller, that Batwing.
Oh, I had the 6 buttons, man. Had to go official. I think the first game that really got me into real competition was first Marvel vs. Capcom.
Okay.
So I played a lot of the games with my friends, and my friends eventually didn't want to play me anymore. And then kind of around when Marvel vs. Capcom came out, I actually had a summer job, so I had money of my own to go spend at an arcade instead of, wasting on my parents. And I started to find other people in the area. I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, who were also quite good and wanted to get better. So we started, hanging out, exchanging numbers, playing together. And Marvel vs. Capcom was where it really got its hooks in on me for a competition.
Oh, awesome.
And, that game is a terrible game. Competitively, it's just awful. Oh, it's so bad. Looking back, if I had known then what I know now, I would not have lost any tournaments in that.
That is one game I was like, ooh, look, there's Street Fighter characters in this game. And then I just get thrashed by everybody.
Yeah, I used to stand around in the arcade on that game and let my opponents pick my characters for me and just walk through them.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I wasn't the nicest kid. But yeah, years went by. Ended up, going to bigger tournaments. I started running larger tournaments myself. Was responsible for Chicago's UFGT series 7, 8, 9, and 10 that ran over the last few years. The last one was the finale. I kind of quit running those. We had about 2,500 guests show up to play.
Holy shit.
Not too bad.
No, that's not too shabby.
But making games has always been, my dream and my thing. So
That's awesome.
it's only natural that through competition, my entire circle of friends are other competitive fighting game players. I barely have any friends left who aren't people from that circle.
Oh, wow.
And, one fateful night, I had my friend Alex over, and he brought two of his friends, one of which is named Steven. And we were playing Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which had just come out like 3 or 4 days before this little story.
Okay.
And we're grinding it out. We're having a good time. We're threatening to pull an all-nighter because we're having so much fun. But we're getting old, so that's not working out. And Alex is sleeping on the chair. And Steven and I have stopped playing because we're so tired, but we're still talking. And for some reason, we're just, shooting the shit, saying stupid stuff. I say, what if there was a game called Divekick? Because there's some really strong dive kicks in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, if you're not aware.
Mm-hmm.
So this was kind of on our mind. Wolverine and Dr. Doom are ridiculous.
I did see that reading about Divekick and some of the origins of the characters, especially Redacted.
Yeah.
It was interesting when I was like, oh, I finally put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. Legally speaking, there's no relation there. It's completely original. Everything in the game is completely unique and original. I said, what if there's a game called Divekick where the only characters were dive and kick and the only buttons were dive and kick? And for some reason, instead of laughing like he was laughing at everything else I said, he just shot out of his chair. And he was like, I could make that. I didn't even know he was an engineer or a programmer. So I found that out at that moment. And then we grabbed a piece of paper. We started writing a design document on the spot.
Oh, wow.
And, when my then fiance, now wife, woke up in the morning because she's an artist, I was like, you're drawing this, okay? She's like, okay. She didn't know what she was committing to. It's a lot of work to make a game. And then we just started prototyping it, We grabbed some stick figures and we tried to prove that it was going to work and be fun.
Right.
And, it was. So we started making the art, and the whole purpose of the game was just to be like this side attraction, goofy thing at one of my tournaments. It was like, hey, man, come to Ultimate Fighting Game Tournament 8 in Chicago, because this will be the only place ever you can play this cool little fun game we made, and then we're just going to throw it in the garbage. And, because it was just supposed to be a little sideshow thing. You dive and you kick. There's no depth, right?
Well, you would think that.
And there was.
Yeah.
And we had these test groups over. My friends would come over and be like, hey, man, I need you guys to come do this super secret thing for 4 hours. They'd come over, sign some non-disclosure agreements or whatnot. And 14 hours later, they're still at my house. And they're still playing the super incomplete, hideous-looking version of this game. Just hooked on it, and they can't get them to leave. And that was really inspiring. So we kind of kicked it into overdrive, making that prototype as good as we could make it. And then when we launched the prototype trailer, which you've probably seen, that 6-minute infomercial style one, the response to that was phenomenal as well, which made us work even harder. And we finally debuted the thing at UFGT 8, and everyone loved it, and they were all demanding a commercial release. And I've never made a game before, so I don't know how to do that. So we started trying to figure that out, and we ended up working with Iron Galaxy Studios, who was my then employer. I had just started working in the industry anyway, to get the game, finished and out. Basically, the CEO here, Dave Lang, he said, listen, man, because we were trying to do a Kickstarter. He said, listen, man, you can make a crappy version of this game for the money you asked for on Kickstarter, or you can make the game you want to make. If you just sign with us, you'll have the budget. And,
wow.
That was a no-brainer.
That's got to never happen in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really care about money or riches or anything like that. Just being able to kind of complete the vision and do the game I wanted to do without any hurdles was definitely a no-brainer. And it was an amazing experience. Everybody here at Iron Galaxy Studios is super talented, and they were super big fans of the project as well. We'd come back from lunch every day and run straight to the game room and play each other in Divekick, the game we were working on. And if you're into game development, most developers aren't playing their own games super often because you're pretty burnt out on it while you're working on it.
Yeah. Do you hate the game now?
No, never.
Good.
I never hate it. It's still super fun when I pick it up. Obviously, I'm very knee deep in other things right now. Right now, I'm the lead combat designer on Killer Instinct Season 2.
Holy cow.
Oh, that's awesome. So you guys are working with Carrie Hoskins Branson.
Something like that.
Yeah.
How has the experience been working with Microsoft?
Microsoft's been great.
Good.
It's really fun working with them. They have a lot of guys with great ideas, and they have a lot of people with a lot of experience. And we get together multiple times a week and just make sure everything's going in the right direction and everything feels good, looks good, and it's a big team effort between us and them. It's really, really fun.
Cool.
For Divekick, it was just a really wild ride because I don't think a lot of people's first projects get that much attention. We had a booth at PAX East, which was kind of like our first showing, and we had lines spilling into the aisles the entire weekend, and we had a ton of buzz at that show. We probably would have done a lot better had we released right after that show instead of, getting netcode into the game before releasing.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but that's okay.
Now, what did you think during this process when you saw the reaction that the game was getting? Did you think it was, your friends were playing it, and obviously you saw that there was definitely potential in the game, but when you let other people play it, people you didn't know, and you saw their immediate response to it and how much fun it was to play, was that something you were expecting? We're like, oh yeah, this is a great game, everyone's going to like it, or was this kind of like, whoa, man, people really like this thing?
It's a hard sell, right? I always knew it was a hard sell once we started to get serious about it. Dave always told me it was the Tetris problem. I don't know if you're familiar with that term, but I certainly wasn't.
No.
Let me take you back in time, my friend. Let's go back 30 years before Tetris was a thing. And you and I are best friends, and we're hanging out. You trust me, right? We're best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I trust you already.
Yeah, I trust you.
Let me tell you about this game. It's amazing. There are these blocks, and they fall from the sky, and you stack them. And if you can make a line, it clears out. It's really fun. Do I sound like a
Sounds like you're printing money.
It doesn't make sense, right?
No.
But when you play Tetris, it's obviously a global phenomenon, right? Divekick doesn't make sense either. I'm not saying Divekick's a global phenomenon or anything, but the pitch for Divekick is goofy and it doesn't make any sense. But when you play it, it's kind of like magic.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I know from my own personal experience, it's Steve from Game Classy and myself, when we were playing it the first time, Steve was explaining it to me, just saying, all you do, there's 2 buttons, you dive and you kick. That's all you're going to do.
That's stupid.
Well, and I was like, okay, well, really, how we could play this for about 30 seconds. And then that first match, before I even got hit, the second I discovered the movement, I realized that there was just a bottomless pit of depth in the game. And I was like, how is this possible that with only 2 inputs and 2 movements, you move around the screen more in Divekick than you do in Street Fighter sometimes. I mean, it's it's insane how simplistic the game is, but really how deep it is. And really some strategy starts to evolve. And I mean, I was hooked. That first match, I was absolutely hooked. And that's really all Steve and I have been playing is that game. And we just cannot stop.
And we have had that experience with pretty much everyone who puts their hands on it. The challenge is getting people to put their hands on it.
Yeah.
Right. What's the price point for that descriptor? When you read that on Steam or whatever, it says only 2 buttons. All you can do is dive and kick. You're like, wow. I'm not really into losing money to that. But the reviews are good. We won a bunch of awards. Destructoid gave us Fighting Game of the Year last year. We were at E3 and we got a bunch of Best of E3 awards. The people who have put their hands on it have always had great things to say about it. And I think it's not just novel in that it's different. It's kind of a reduction, of what fighting games are and what they mean, at least in part.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's 2 halves of a fighting game for me. There's the part where I'm trying to make you feel like crap by taking away all of your options, and that's the control part, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm controlling you. I'm controlling the screen so that you feel like you have less control than I have. And then there's the combo half of the game where I've finally gotten that hit, and now I'm going to do this, pre-memorized sequence of things to make sure I maximize that opportunity. That part of the game's not super interesting to me. Maybe it used to be when I was younger. Marvel vs. Capcom was obviously my starting point. So at some point I was fascinated by getting a 35-hit combo.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's all that game is.
Right. But now I don't really care for that. I don't think that's a super interesting thing to test. I don't really care if I memorized the combo better than you. I want to test the part where we're both in control and who can outsmart who.
Yeah.
And ultimately, fighting games are about options. You know, how many options do I have, and how many ways can I make you feel like you don't have as many options as me, even though you do? And there's so many things to think about. You know, you can walk, you can block, you can jump. You have 6 attack buttons, and you have 3 different variations of each of those, and you have all these special moves. And if you want to input one, you have to remember the motion, and you have to remember how to execute the motion, and make sure you do it at the right range. Blah 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 blah. In Divekick, you have like 1 or 2 things you can do, and you get to immediately focus on those things. And as soon as you get hit, you don't think, man, I couldn't do my move right. The first thing you think when you get hit in Divekick is, well, I fucked up. I knew exactly what I was allowed to do, and I did it wrong, and I got hit. I got outsmarted.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And you feel dumb because it's so simple. Like, how could you lose? But it's motivating because you're learning. All of a sudden, you're learning about, why this guy over here, Keith's Adam, likes the fighting game genre. Oh, he's not just mashing the buttons and doing combos. He likes outsmarting people. He likes cornering people and making them feel helpless. That's really what I love about fighters, and I hope that, my best hope for Divekick is that I can share that feeling with people who might not otherwise be able to achieve it, because it does take a long time to become good enough at a traditional fighting game to even hope to feel those things.
Absolutely. Well, and the other opportunity that Divekick offers up is the ability to know that you can improve in that game. You know that, like you said, when you lose, you know immediately that you fucked up.
Yep.
But it's always, I fucked up, but I know I can fix that in the very next match. Like, I know I can do something different immediately.
Yeah.
Whereas, you practice on, Street Fighter or some other fighting game, for a couple of nights, and then you go and you play somebody and you just get completely, thrashed by someone. You're like, fuck, now it's back.
You're probably not even sure what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's back to the drawing board, and you're like, God, now I got to go work this out. And you've got like a marker board, and you're trying to figure out your strategy and stuff. With Divekick, it's instant, and you know why you screwed up, and you know how you can try and take that away in the next round. And so it gives you so much hope to continue. And when you do well, it feels so good in Divekick because it's instant. The matches only last a matter of seconds anyways, so...
Yeah. I think one of the best things we do with Divekick is when you do get hit, the game like pauses for a moment and then zooms in. And it's like, look at this, understand. Whereas in Street Fighter, when I get hit, it leads to a combo. And I need to pay attention throughout the whole combo, because if my opponent purposely drops the combo, they might reset me into a new combo or a different situation. I need to be ready to defend after the knockdown, right? I don't really have time to think about why I even got hit in the first place.
Right.
And that makes learning harder, because you have to continually focus on more and more stuff. Right now I'm working on Killer Instinct, and that's got a whole combo breaker system. So the moment I get hit, I'm immediately thinking about what moves my opponent's doing in the combo so I can try and break it. And I don't have any time to think about why I even got hit in the first place. And you can't close those holes if you can't remember how you were opened up at all. That's just a problem with the genre in general. And it's something that Divekick was only able to do because it's kind of a Bushido Blade one-hit kills kind of game.
It's a beautiful game. I mean, it's executed perfectly. It's exactly what it should be. And that's why, when we started playing it, I mean, after a while, I started to kind of get... I started to feel weird about Street Fighter and other fighting games that I like to play. I mean, I love playing fighting games. I'm nowhere near the level of ability as yourself or as a lot of other players, but I just enjoy playing them. They've just always been my favorite. But it made me kind of look at them differently, because I was like, how can Divekick be so good with just the 2 inputs? I was like, and then there's all that other bullshit in all those other games that I grind on and try and figure out, and I never really give any better. I try to, at least, but it always seems like it's this hill that I can never stop climbing. I never reach that point where I'm like, I'm pretty good now. Like, I know I'm getting good at the game. With Divekick, it was just immediate, and it felt so good, and everyone has a fair shot right when they start.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is amazing. How can those other games get away with that when really this is the core of what I want in a fighting game?
Yeah, I mean, if you're super into the combo part of the game, you're not going to like Divekick, obviously. That's your favorite half.
Yeah.
But, hopefully, at least since you play other fighting games, Divekick has kind of shown you where to look for improvement,
Oh, absolutely.
It's not that your opponent knew a better combo. It's that he hit you.
Yeah.
And why did he hit you, and how did he hit you? Where were you on the screen when you got hit, et cetera, et cetera. I used to teach some of the guys when I lived in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I used to teach some of the guys up there how to play from scratch. And, I would do stupid things like the round would start and say round 1 fight, and then 15 seconds later, my opponent was in the corner, and I would pause the game and look at him and be like, "Where are you?" "I'm in the corner." "How did you get there?" "I don't know." And I'm like, more important question, how many attack buttons did I press to get you there? I don't know. The answer is 0. I walked you into the corner. How did that happen? How did you let that happen? And it's like, oh, that kind of opens up their brain.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, it's not just about pressing the attack buttons all of a sudden. It's like, oh, I've lost all this space and now my options are reduced. I can't jump away anymore. I can't walk back. Now everything I try to do gets thwarted just because I let this guy bulldog me back into the corner.
You're like the Mr. Miyagi of fighting games.
Wax on. I don't super enjoy teaching.
I was just going to say, do you have classes? Do you offer classes? Like some online classes maybe that I could take at work or something?
I don't. My favorite thing in the world is just watching people play a game I made. I like to make board games and invite friends over and make them test them, and that's my thing. That's what I like to do.
That's awesome.
What was the tipping point, with Divekick? Was it a certain platform it was released on where you saw a fan kind of influx happen, or was it like a certain media outlet or that published something? Like what was the tipping point for you?
I feel like it's been kind of the same fan base the whole time. Ever since that first preview at Ultimate Fighting Game Tournament 8, it's kind of been like the same core of guys who have been super into it, guys and girls who have been super into it, and been really supportive and vocal about it. And we took it to a lot of places and improved it and eventually released it. There's actually still a thriving community on Steam doing weekly tournaments on Sunday, every Sunday. I think they've done an entire year's worth of tournaments now. I think they're on like week 54 or something.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Which is really awesome. And some of those guys are incredible. Oh my God, they're so good. You do not want to play them, or maybe you do want to play them. Join those tournaments.
Yeah, I would love to go in there and just get housed by them, just so I could see somebody just perfectly execute Divekick in the way that it should be played.
Yeah. But I think the thing that means the most to me from the whole experience is just like having someone come up to me at PAX and say, "Listen, my boyfriend loves fighting games. I don't. I've never been able to get into them, but we play this one together all the time. And it makes us really happy." Or to see cool. a father and a son or a father and a daughter say, we play this together. We can't play Street Fighter together. The age and skill difference is too much. We play this together and we love it. Thank you. That stuff, tugs at the heartstrings.
That's awesome. That's certainly, I know Steve and I have had a very emotional connection over Divekick where we both, because Steve
cried and hugged.
Yeah, well, with Steve and I, we play a lot of fighting games against each other, and Steve loves the the Guilty Gears and the Blaze Blues and stuff like that. I'm just not
anime.
Yeah, I'm just and the JoJo's and stuff like that. We play that. I'm just not that great at those games. But when we played Divekick, a connection was made between Steve and I, where we just immediately saw how great that game was. And no matter who was losing or who was winning, we just didn't want to stop playing that game. And even if we would leave it and go play something else, we would just kind of look at each other and be like, should we load up Divekick again? Let's play Divekick again.
It's pretty addictive.
And we go right back into Divekick, and it was brand new again.
We considered shipping it with a heart rate monitor.
Sure.
Because that game really does get you pumping. It's a little too intense, maybe.
So I think you should pitch it to Nintendo then.
Yeah, maybe.
There you go.
I guess they do that. You have to stand on the Wii Fit balance board and hook up 3 heart rate monitors to the Wiimotes.
While doing a yoga pose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now the game has gone through a couple of revisions, the Edition Plus. What is the future of Divekick?
Well, I guess that depends on the community. We have committed to releasing more characters as long as people are playing the game. We did run into a small snag with our first additional character. We had some critical issues we needed to clean up for the Xbox One version, and we want to make sure that all the players get the new content at the same time, so we're delaying the next new character for that. But if the community is still going strong after that, we'll continue to make new characters and keep the game growing. Matchups are super interesting in that game. There's so few options, but it really matters how those things kind of clash and work together.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, once you play through and you've used all the characters and you do that one time, it's almost instantaneous where you see the matchup on the screen and you're like, oh shit, like how that match is going to go and what the other person can do and what you can do. And
the
there's
special techniques can make a big difference in some of those matchups too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's been, I know with Steve and I, we've really latched on to like Markman and Mr. N. When those matches happen, those are always very intense between us. We're discovering other, things with characters. We're like, ooh, look what this guy can do. And all of a sudden there's new rivalries that are forged.
Yeah, there's some hidden depth in there. There's a couple tricksy things you can do with 2 buttons that let people unlock hidden potential. Do you know about Mr. N's secret double jump?
Oh, when he gets up in the air, and then while he's in the air, you can hit dive again. And
you hold dive and kick, and then you release dive, and then you press it again while still holding kick during the float. And he spends a little meter and does a little double jump.
Oh,
wow.
I did not know that. I know
it's in the how to play command list, I believe, but it is called Mr. N's secret double jump, and it is really good.
And speaking of Mr. N and the other characters in the game, they're based on some people are based on real life people, and they're not really
legally speaking, no.
Well, legally speaking, no, but they bear a striking resemblance to certain. I guess you could say. I mean, if they were real people, they would be close to these characters. But have you had any? It sounds like maybe you've had some experience with this, or you've had some issues. Have you had any?
No. We have our legal ducks in a row. We're good.
All right, good. And so nobody's come forth and said, "Hey, man, what the fuck?" Like,
no, anyone who a character was based off, we had permission from.
Awesome. And there were no hard feelings or anything at all. No. Okay, because Mr. N, especially Mr. N, that character's background is very, very interesting.
Indeed.
And it's. When you play the game and then you start reading about the characters and then you start reading about some of the history behind them, you're like, man, did they not take any flack for this? Like, how did this happen?
Just keeping it real,
Well, I'm telling you this right now. The next 10 conventions I go to, I better see somebody cosplaying Mr. N or somebody from Divekick. I mean, it would be the most amazing thing to see someone in a big, huge red onesie and a neck pillow just walking around. So I know Steve has said that he's going to do it.
I've seen a Mr. N cosplay yet. I've seen Dr. Scholes. She's pretty popular to cosplay. I've seen Divekick, Jafali, Kenny. Yeah, I really want to see someone pull off Stream Monster.
Yes, Stream Monster.
I think Kung Pao would actually be a pretty easy cosplay.
Oh, for sure.
Low target. I've seen people cosplay Markman. I've seen Markman cosplay Markman. That's just a joke.
Well, it's just a guy in jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah, and I saw Seth Killian actually bring out the clothes that S-Kill wears at a Divekick thing. So he's dressed exactly like the character.
I'd have to say that Stream would probably have to be the best cosplay, because if you're going to do it, you've got to commit 100% to that.
You got to go pantsless, kind of. You got to wear tights or whatever.
You have to. You've got to do the jerking motions with a slightly pleasant face.
You have to wear a straitjacket, which means if you have an itch on your face, you are done.
Yeah, you've got to go balls out with that.
Yeah, you're completely done. You have to walk around with a friend. Scratch my face, please. I have an itch on my nose. You can't even play Divekick if you're wearing a Stream cosplay. This is a bad idea. Nobody should cosplay that character.
Now, Steve from Game Classy, the other podcast on PlanetArbitrary.com, I spoke with him, and I told him that we were going to be speaking with you, and I asked him, I was like, hey, what do you want to ask the creator of Divekick? And so I have a special question from Steve.
Okay.
This is directly for you. He wants to know, when is Marvel?
Bacon.
All right, there we go. Steve, that was for you.
Official answer.
Yeah. Let's see. Moving on from that, is there anything else, aside from Killer Instinct and aside from fighting games, are you doing anything else outside of fighting games? Is there anything that in the future that you want to move into? Anything this year that came out that you're like, man, that's something that I'd like to try or something I'd like to get into?
I mean, there's a lot of games coming out that I still want to play. I like to try and keep up, with all the genres that I like, so that I feel like it makes me a better designer to kind of know what fun feels like and to know when people have misstepped so that I can maybe avoid those mistakes when I'm making a game. I'm into a lot of genres. There's only a couple I don't really jive with. Like, I don't like real-time strategy. I'm not really into stealth. I don't have a lot of patience for sneaking around. But just about everything else I like and would love to, make something in any of their genres someday.
What are you playing the most right now?
Right now, I'm still playing Borderlands pre-sequel. My wife and I play those together, and it's really, really, really fun. The new game, the pre-sequel, has, in some ways is worse than Borderlands 2. Like, story-wise, it's not as good. The maps are not as well designed. Fast travel points are maybe a little too far away, all that stuff. But the gameplay's better. It's just better. You can double jump and float using the moon gravity because it takes place on the moon, and you can do like this big butt stomp attack while you are reloading and knock guys around, and makes aggressive play really rewarding, and the game is just a blast. So I don't know, I'm like 75 hours into that.
Holy shit.
I think I put like 250 hours into Borderlands 2 or something.
Man,
those games are really cool. I really like those. And I just recently finally got some next-gen systems, so I just beat Sunset Overdrive, which was awesome, and Infamous for PS4.
Yep.
What was the subtitle of that one again?
Second Son?
Yeah, Second
Son.
Son. Yeah. I beat that one. Sometimes the graphics in that were a little too next-gen, and I couldn't see anything.
so much
Like,
explosions on screen.
So much glare. Like
Yeah.
when it's rainy, there's so much, and the sun setting, there's so much glare on the floor from the sunset. I can't even, like, I'm in an alley. I have no idea where I'm going. I can't see anything.
Just like real life.
And I'm like, can you guys make the graphics worse so I can see what's happening?
What
That
did
game
you
was fun.
What did you think of the Street Fighter V unveil?
Street Fighter V looks interesting. Obviously, I'm very hard to please because I've been playing fighting games for a very, very long time. And one of my main complaints with Street Fighter 4 is that it's a slow game. And I would like something to go a little faster. And Street Fighter V looks like a slow game. So hopefully, character walk speeds and just general pacing speed up a bit before they get to release. But obviously, fun is most important to me, so I can't wait to try it. Hopefully, it strikes a chord with me, because I unfortunately didn't enjoy Street Fighter 4 very much.
And did you feel any feelings? I know a lot of people, once the trailer was unveiled or it was leaked initially, a lot of people, I guess, in the forums, in the comment sections, popped up and said, man, the art style is just like 4. They could have shown me 4 and said it was 5. I would have had no idea.
Yeah, those people should maybe open their eyes, because it doesn't look anything like 4. They're doing some weird new stuff with animation where, like, kind of like Virtua Fighter, some of the hits recoil on block instead of going through. That looks interesting. They're doing some of their hit pause in different spots, like earlier in the punch, and then the rest of it forces through after the stop instead of the game kind of freezing on the hit pose of the fully extended fist, which is what we're used to seeing. It looks nice. I mean, it's got a really unique look to it, and I think it looks really nice. And I think the models are vastly improved as well. I really would like to try the game. Hopefully they can, sneak me behind the scenes at a trade show or something, so I don't have to wait forever. That would be awesome.
And I guess, it was barely, this game was, from what I understand, was pushed through a lot by Sony this time.
I don't know the details there. Obviously, it's exclusive to the Sony platforms, or to PS4, which is totally fine with me since I own all of the consoles. But I don't own sticks for PS4 yet, and now I kind of have to get them, which is unfortunate because I already own like 21 arcade sticks, and I don't really want any more.
Now, speaking of the arcade sticks, is the Divekick Fight Stick going to come to retail? Are we going to be able to buy that?
It's not.
Oh.
It's a build your own affair, unfortunately.
Oh, man.
We did a lot of research, and it's just there's no possible way we can make our money back doing that.
Because that was one of the greatest things, when we were playing the game and Steve told me that a fight stick existed for that game. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then I saw it.
Great.
It was one of the best. It totally makes sense, and I totally want to play it. But at the same time, it totally matches the humor of Divekick, and it was an extension of that humor. And I just started laughing when I saw it because it takes.
We used to take the game to trade shows only with those. And it was so easy. People could come up and figure out the menus in the game immediately because there were only 2 buttons to press. And then when we started showing the game with like a PS4 controller, an Xbox One controller, people got real confused. The match would start, they'd be pressing directions and all the buttons, nothing's happening. And I don't know, the game is just a lot more elegant with that controller.
Yeah, it's awesome, and it's such a nice piece of hardware, but at the same time, you're just like,
you want to know what one costs to build?
I would like to know.
Well, each of those buttons, if you want a nice large button, and you do, you don't want a crappy one. you're going to have to buy the giant-sized Sanwa buttons, and you can only import those. My import retailer is in Sweden, and they're imported from Japan, and I pay about $27 plus shipping per button.
Oh,
so you're
Jesus.
out about $70 on 2 buttons.
Oh man.
Now you need a cabinet for the hardware. So probably if you're going to build something out of wood, that's pretty cheap, maybe $5-10. If you want to do something a little nicer, metal or plastic, maybe $20, $30, $40. And then you need plexi for the top if you want to put art on it. So a piece of plexi is, I don't know, cut $5-6. And then you need some sort of controller to gut and put the parts of on the inside. So if you're doing like a PlayStation version, you need to buy a PlayStation controller, gut that, put the insides in, wire it all up. So all said and done, you're probably out about $150, $160 to build this from scratch.
Because I would want it to look exactly like the ones that I saw with the demo. Because it looks cool. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, they look
but
cool.
Is it $300 to have 2 of them cool?
You're asking the wrong guy, because for me, I would be like, I might have to just bite the bullet and do it because it's
If you
pretty
see what
awesome.
I mean, right? Like we
Oh, absolutely.
We could, and that's how much it costs to make them. We would have to sell them for more than that to make the risk reasonable, and there's no way people would buy them at that price. There's just no way.
Yeah, I mean, well, and not only that, the funny thing is that to have that fight stick, it's useless for any other game.
It's completely useless.
It's rock band equipment, but it's so nice. It is just so nice looking.
Yeah, I mean, if you're super committed, I would just say build a Divekick arcade cabinet.
Oh, that's
the way to go.
I bet you the guys at Galloping Ghost could whip that up pretty fast.
In no time.
They could.
Yeah.
Guys at Iron Galaxy Orlando did build one. There are pictures of it from the CEO event a few years ago. Maybe I can find it for you.
Oh man.
I don't want to delay the interview for looking for this.
Yeah, dead air.
Yeah, just keep talking. I'm here.
Oh yeah, I just googled it. I see it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it in
awesome.
the chat right now. There you go. It's pretty sick. It's got custom art by the Dow twins on the side.
Blue and
Amazing.
orange. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, the art style in the game it's a cool looking game. It looks good. I love the way that Divekick looks and all the characters. It just fits so well because it doesn't take itself too seriously, but at the same time it's totally serious. And it's very, very funny at the same time. So it just clicks, and it just adds to that level of the enjoyment of playing the game. That when you're playing it, the enjoyment of I can get better at this game, and oh man, I just won. At the same time, you're laughing, and it's like this game's fucking hilarious. At the same time, so you're like, this is the best game I played all year.
I think for me, as far as inside jokes and whatnot go, this game was definitely like a love letter to fighting games and the fighting game community, while also lampooning it. And so, for some players or some people, I guess in general, inside jokes are off-putting because you feel left out, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You hear a joke in a movie that you don't get, and half the theater laughs, and you're just like, "What did I miss? Oh man, now I feel weird because I'm not in on it." But there are people out there like myself, when I hear an inside joke that I don't get, I'm immediately curious. I want to know what the story is. Why is this funny? And I go look it up because I'm a big nerd. So we've gotten some criticism that the jokes are a little too inside baseball. But, the intent there was that I would hope that people would kind of get into it that way and just look it up and be like, oh, I get it now. I looked it up, and now I'm kind of more connected and more into, or now I know more about fighting games and the fighting game community for having done that.
Oh, absolutely.
So that was definitely an intent there. I'm not sure if it came through for everybody, but it was something that I wanted to do to try and introduce more people to some of the concepts and characters and people in the fighting game community. And you don't have to know those things to enjoy the game unless you're just really off-put by inside jokes in life in general. And some people are like that. And for those people, I say to you, don't play Divekick. It is going to upset you.
Well, it was nice because a lot of those inside jokes were kind of time bombs for me, because after researching the characters and maybe the people in real life that they might be loosely based on, once I saw the real pictures of those people, I started laughing while I was doing the research because I was like, oh, this totally makes sense now, for me, one of my favorite parts is Mr. N, and I was explaining to Anthony and Annie before we started the interview that Mr. N has this great part where when he wins a match, a reporter, the female reporter comes out to talk about his win, and he goes to put his arm around her, and she just says,
No, you cannot.
Yeah, no, you cannot, and just steps away from him.
Have you seen the video?
No, I haven't.
Oh boy.
But once I saw, a person in real life that's kind of like Mr. N, I saw the picture of that person, and I immediately thought of that scene and started laughing. It worked so well. It was so great. Well, Adam, thank you.
This is a long video to link you, so watch it later. But no, you cannot is from this video.
All right. Well, I will definitely watch that, and I'm sure we'll definitely be talking about it. I know. Well, actually, I might even save that and watch it with Steve when we stream the game next.
Sure.
So, Adam, I want to say, first off, congratulations on all the success with Divekick and Killer Instinct as well. They're both amazing games. And also, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Thanks,
Sorry
Adam.
about my voice. I've been under the weather the last few days, so hopefully I had enough energy.
I was going to say, you sound like shit, man.
Sound horrible.
I definitely do.
Yeah, Anthony stopped recording like 20 minutes ago,
Yeah.
so don't worry.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks, Adam.
No
Thank
problem,
you.
guys. See you later.
Care.
See ya.
Bye.
What a nice guy.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Learned a lot, too. I really think he needs to do like a
School.
Kumon school of fighting type of thing.
Oh,
You can
yeah.
do classes at work, That way I can say, like, when I win a match, I can say I won that match at work.
Yeah. He could like take the old circuit cities that are all abandoned and like turn them into little schools.
You should. That's a great idea. Divekick centers. Yeah, well, thank you so much, Adam, for joining us on Play On. We had a lot of fun. That was Adam Hart of the Divekick game. Be sure to check it out on really any platform. It's on PS3, PS4. It's on everything. So be sure to give Divekick a try. And then also be sure to check out all of his work on Killer Instinct because he's killing it with that game, obviously. So let's see. And for Play On, that is it for us on this episode. Yeah, that's going to do it. Be sure to check out planetarbitrary.com for all your Planet Arbitrary needs. Be sure to check out Game Classy with Joe and Steve every other Sunday, our little sister podcast over there at Game Classy. They talk about all things tabletop, fantasy, Dungeons and Dragons, Warcraft. I don't even think they talk about Warcraft that much anymore. I know if you're into D&D for sure, check out their bonus podcast that they do where they get real crunchy on the details. That shit is gold. It is a lot of fun to listen to. So be sure to check out Game Classy. Be sure to check out Stitcher Radio, Podomatic, Twitters. You can follow the podcast at Play On. You can follow me at Pat's Game Reviews. You can follow Anthony.
Snoogans to you.
You can also email me at pat@planetarbitrary.com, and Anthony is... Do you add a Planet Arbitrary?
Info at planetarbitrary.com.
Info,
Yeah, generic.
Be sure to check out iTunes. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to all of the podcasts on iTunes. We'd appreciate it. Be sure to check out Reddit R Game Collecting and GameCollecting.net. Their Secret Santa has concluded, and people are getting their gifts. I know I got mine. I put in my profile that I'm a huge SNK fan, and my Secret Santa did not let me down. Got a copy of SNK Arcade Favorites on Wii. So
Very cool.
Yeah, so it was great. I was super excited to do that. So, and I also sent out my Secret Santa gift. So, yeah. It was difficult.
Used panties.
Yeah, several. So I hope he enjoys that. But be sure to check out GameCollecting.net and also their Facebook. They've got a great Facebook community. They have a group. You should join the group, and then they have their regular Facebook page as well. So be sure to check that out because it's good stuff. And then, yes, Reddit R Game Collecting, of course. Be sure to check out that community as well. And then funstock.co.uk, our discount code is still active. Planet saves you 5% off any order on their website, so be sure to check that out as well. And that's going to do it.
Annie, take us out.
Annie, there you go.
Play on, bitches.